1250 and 94.5 FM. Jason Minix, The Blitz.
It is The Blitz here on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250, 94.5 FM. I'm Jason Minix. A little salty on this Tuesday afternoon, to be honest with you. Pumped as hell about the World Series. Pumped. Jealous as hell that Rob Thompson and Rudy J snaked my tickets and are on their way to Houston right now while I sit here at work.
Tickets.
Sure. Yeah, I would have taken you.
I'm sure you would have.
I mean, you might have had to fight Joanna for that, but sure, you might have been able to. But she's working a lot, so I might have had to just say, hey, man, let's road trip. So true story. The other day, Rob Thompson, we were talking, I don't know what day was I, Texas Cheer, Thursday. And I was like, hey, call Jeff up at ESPN and see if they've got tickets, since we're carrying the games. We should be able to get tickets. I said, I know I won't be able to go to game one because it's Tuesday, and my niece, she left for Tennessee at 5 a.m. this morning, packing all day. So I knew, I was like, Tuesday's out, but see if you can get game two tickets. And he was like, really? We can do that? I'm like, yeah, you can do that. Call Martindale, man, and see what's available. So he calls Martindale, and he's like, yeah, I've got game one tickets. Cool, I'll take them. He knows I can't go to game one. So he's I'm happy for him, but I'm jealous. Well, yeah, because I want to go. I would love to be at one of the World Series games, and game two tickets apparently aren't available.
I have two issues with this, because I heard this morning as he was talking about it on R&R. I was like, okay, so the two non-Astro fans are going in place of the two Astro fans.
Yeah. And
B, I don't want Rob Thompson anywhere near my team. There's a Mambo Kings curse that follows him around.
There is that. And, quite frankly, the reality is we got up this morning about 4:15. Now, you got to understand, my niece has a 2007 Honda Civic. That thing was packed to the gills. And I mean, the trunk, and realize my niece has a ton of shoes, and they are fitted in every crevice you could figure out in the trunk and in the back seat with all her stuff. And then her mom, who is riding with her, bought this thing that, I'm glad they're driving through Arkansas and Louisiana because they will fit right in. But I mean, this travel pack thing that goes on the roof. I was worried it was going to cave in the roof, to be honest, because it's not like she has luggage racks, but it's one of those things that designed to fit on luggage racks, right? That thing was heavy as hell. Last night, I don't know, 11 o'clock at night, we're standing on ladders trying to get this thing in with the straps and it's comical, right? But they left at 5 this morning. I could have driven to Houston. We could be doing the show right now somewhere near Houston. The way things work now with Ray, if I can do my show from the kitchen, I could do my show anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
I could be in Houston at one of those bars across the street, or hell, in a hotel room. But I did say I don't think I can make game one, but game two. Game one was available, and he was like, well, you said you couldn't go to game one, man. So me and Rudy, we're road tripping because you can't turn down World Series tickets. But Rob didn't even know he could ask. He's like, really? I can do that? Hell yeah, you can do that. I mean, ESPN has tickets. Go. As far as they know, Rudy's a big client. I mean,
that'd never pass with me.
What? That you're a big client?
Yeah.
You could be Mattress Mac's third cousin's nephew or something. Who the hell knows? I mean, it's like I said, I'm happy for them, but I'm jealous as hell because I would really like to be there, to go. And like you said, those guys don't give a damn about the Astros.
Exactly.
But
that's why I'm salty.
But those guys are on the road right now to Houston. They're going to go take in a World Series game that's going to take forever. And then they're going to get in a car and drive back and do R&R in the morning.
Are they?
I sure as hell ain't. I mean, you look at it. Here's the problem with Rob. Here's and Rob knows this, but Rob must have forgot. Road tripping with Rudy J is awful. I mean, it is awful. Because Rudy J is going to fall asleep before they get to Buc-ee's on the way down there. And with traffic leading Minute Maid tonight, Rudy J is going to be asleep before they make it back to I-10. I promise you, Rudy J is going to be asleep. He's got this ability to just knock out when he's sitting in a car not driving. Driving, he's great. And I didn't know this about Rudy J until we were in California at Cowboys training camp. I mean, a short 15-minute drive from Oxnard to Ventura, he's asleep. Driving down the Pacific Coast Highway down to Malibu, one of the most scenic drives in the country, the dude could not stay awake. And Rob, who got up at 5 or whatever this morning to go to work, is going to end up driving both ways. It's going to be interesting. I hope they don't get any speeding tickets along the way. I kid. But, yeah, you know, like I said, Game 1 of the World Series tonight. You'll be able to listen to the game right here on San Antonio Sports Star, starting at 6 o'clock with the pregame coverage. So we are out early. And, man, do we have a lot to talk about when with everything going on today. We will go in depth into the Braves-Astros matchup. It's the matchup none of us expected, none of us wanted. We all wanted Astros-Dodgers. The Dodgers couldn't get there. The Dodgers couldn't get there. They couldn't. But there's one man I know well that knows both teams extremely well. He's the best person we could talk to about this series. He is Dan Matthews. He does radio in Atlanta at 580 The Fan or 680 The Fan, whatever The Fan is in Atlanta. And but he grew up in Houston. He is a diehard Astros fan. He has become, because he's worked in Atlanta now 9 years, I think. It's been a long time. Yeah. But if there's a guy that eats up baseball like Chuck McIntyre over at KBB, it's Dan Matthews, right? I mean, this guy is all laid up when it comes to baseball. And if you follow him on any socials, it's all either Braves or Astros. I mean, this guy is in hog heaven, but his insides have to be just playing tug of war with what he really wants to win. In some ways, he can't lose because I know his childhood team is the Astros, but you covered the Braves for 9 years. I mean, their studio literally is right outside that baseball field. I mean, when we were in Atlanta for the Super Bowl and hanging out over at the Battery with Dan, I mean, we'd go and check out their studios and do some stuff, and literally you could see inside the stadium from his studio. Dan Matthews will join us at 4:30. We'll talk with Doug Gottlieb at 5 o'clock. Charean Williams will join us at 5:30, and we're done at 6. And you know, there's so much to talk about in general sports to begin with. Spurs with a big game tonight against the Los Angeles Lakers. LeBron James is questionable for this game tonight. He turned an ankle the other day. I'm going to guess he doesn't play. And that sucks for Spurs fans. We have no idea how many more trips to San Antonio LeBron James is going to make. At this stage of his career, I'm glad it's not a rest day. It's an ankle injury that we all saw. They've got a back-to-back. And I would, if I'm running the Lakers, LeBron doesn't play in either one of these. What did he miss? 25, 26 games with an ankle last year. It's the first week of the season. There's no reason to rush LeBron back. I mean, now it is a Taco Tuesday. He is in San Antonio. Maybe, you know, he finds a great spot and somehow gets some healing powers for his ankle and is able to play. I hope he plays tonight. But at the same time, you never know. And again, first week of the season, they're not going to take chances with his ankle. But if it's up to LeBron, he'll go test his ankle, and I think that's why they haven't ruled him out. LeBron wants to play. He wants to play every game, and the Lakers have to work on their chemistry in a big way. They really do, because now, look, it's LeBron, it's Anthony Davis. They got to figure out how Westbrook fits in, but it's still the Lakers and everything they have stacked up. They're going to have chemistry issues early in the season. Everybody knew that was going to be the case, and I do think that's one of the reasons LeBron wants to play. He doesn't want to miss a lot of time early, but he'll figure out how he's going to fit in when he does get back, if it's not tonight. We'll talk about the Spurs coming up, and the Spurs, record-wise, where we thought. Competitive-wise, playing far better than I expected. Headline in the Express News today this morning was along the lines of need to turn moral victories into actual victories. And quite frankly, I didn't expect them to get a lot of victories, period. I'm okay with the 2 moral victories that they, if you want to call them that, over Denver and Milwaukee. I thought they'd get blown out in one of those, and they were competitive in both of those games until the fourth quarter. They don't know how to win yet. They don't have that extra gear that they're able to get into to close out a game. And Milwaukee was here on a field trip. You know, they went out to George Hill's ranch, checked out all his cars and some of his exotic animals. They were all jacking around and then went and beat the Spurs. I don't know if you saw any of the videos that Bucks players and Bucks Twitter put out. George Hill has a hell of a ranch. A hell of a ranch. I was talking to George Hill about some of his toys that he has out of his ranch. I ran into him at Hillsdale's a couple of weeks ago before the season started. In fact, it was the Thursday night of the Cowboys-Bucks game when we were doing our show at Hillsdale's. George Hill just happened to show up. And, you know, he's a hunter, likes to go out and get exotics. And we were talking about some different things that I've got that he's got. And, you know, his ranch is incredible. And, you know, they took the charter bus out to George Hill's ranch while they were in San Antonio. I mean, cool thing to do. And, you know, nice little field trip out to George's place. Got a full basketball court out there, too. Of course he does. He's an NBA player. We'll talk some Spurs and Lakers coming up in a bit. But the big story in San Antonio continues to be the buzz around Jeff Traylor, the UTSA head coach, who is very much rumored for the Texas Tech opening. Now, we talked a lot about this yesterday. Then I had Jeff Traylor on the Blitz yesterday at 6. And I do appreciate Jeff Traylor coming on yesterday. I mean, he comes on every Monday. But it would have been very easy yesterday for Jeff Traylor or UTSA's communications department to say, you know what? It's a bye week and he's out recruiting. Because a lot of times on bye weeks, those guys, man, they want out of the office. They skip and you know, that kind of stuff. Jeff Traylor knew when he was coming on with me that I was going to ask him questions about the job, about the rumors, about what's going on at Texas Tech. And you know what? He didn't dodge the questions. Now, I did ask him if he's gotten a call from an 806 area code, and he said nobody has called his phone. I probably called his agent. I mean, I've got some very good sources within the Texas Tech athletic department, and I'm told there's 3 people on that list. Jeff Traylor is the top of that list. Sonny Dykes is on that list. Sonny Cumbie is on that list, who is going to be the interim head coach. I was reading a thing today that lists all kinds of people like Kendall Briles, and even Eric Morris over at UIW was mentioned. Of course, he is from the Lubbock area. He played at Texas Tech. He's been on the staff for a long time at Texas Tech. Hell, he was part of the recruitment of guys like Patrick Mahomes and Baker Mayfield, you know, during that time with Cliff. So, I mean, you know, he's got some ties there, but I don't know if you jump from UIW to Texas Tech. And for those of you, because Twitter is a wonderful thing when you're trying to figure out what people really don't know about life. And while San Antonio is a more desirable city to live than, say, Lubbock, Texas, when you think about the money that would be available to Jeff Traylor at Texas Tech, it's incredible. I mean, the numbers were broken down pretty clearly in the Express News by Greg Luca, who covers UTSA for the Express News, and he does a great job. And he pointed out in the article, Traylor's base salary is $830,000, Now, already this year with this 8-0 start and getting ranked and whatnot, he's already secured $275,000 in incentives. And he's got about another $500,000 that he could reach in different incentives and bonuses, like that New Year's Day Bowl, right? But that puts his compensation about 1.85. That's still short of what the coaches in the American Athletic Conference make. Right now, Traylor's total pay would rank 12 out of the 14 teams that are going to be in the American. We know that UTSA is going to have to bump up Jeff Traylor's money just because they're moving to the AAC. But it's not just Jeff Traylor's contract. It's not just his salary. It's the salary of his assistant coaches. It's the other facilities that and the other stuff that goes with strength and conditioning and food and all the other things that come with an increased athletic budget. You think about Matt Wells at Texas Tech. Made more than $3 million annually. More than $3 million annually. They're paying him $7 million to go away. You look at UTSA's budget right now for athletics is about $30 million. Texas Tech, $88 million. Huge differences there. And that is why coaches want that jump. They could have a short shelf life, which is why they get $7 million to go away. You love me today, or you're going to love me tomorrow. A couple of losses, and all of a sudden you're not quite as sexy. That's how it goes. But when Jeff Traylor was on yesterday, he did not deny, he did not say no, and he did say that he is very honest with his players about rumors when it comes to Jeff Traylor and his coaching future.
Yeah, just like we do everything else, we're honest with each other. We've been in front of this for a while. We expected to have a really good football team. Those kids all understand with my Texas connections, any Texas job that ever comes open, my name's probably going to be involved in it. We're way in front of this deal. My kids know I'm very, very committed to this place. I'm very excited about the future of our place. Dr. Campos and President Amy have been nothing but helpful. They know how committed I am to winning. They're just as committed. We also know we're going to the AAC. It's a huge step up, and we're going to have to make a bigger commitment for us to be successful. And I'm really excited about all that.
We're going to have to make a bigger commitment for us to be successful. And he's not just talking about his paycheck. He is talking about his paycheck, but not just his paycheck. Now, are there examples out there of coaches who have stayed at a lower conference school and not jumped up? Absolutely. Absolutely. There are those coaches out there. And you don't have to jump at the first job that comes along. But it would be hard to turn down what Texas Tech is likely to offer. Now, most coaches in a situation like that, no comment you, and I do appreciate Jeff Traylor for not pulling the no comment. You think about how this works. We've seen it a gazillion times every time there's coaching rumors. And us as fans, us as media types forget the human side of everything. And I do appreciate that Jeff Traylor mentioned that first and foremost yesterday when he came on the Blitz. He said, look, man, first off, Matt Wells is a good dude. I feel bad for him. Yeah, that guy just lost his job. Although he gets $7 million to lose his job. Still hurts. But also all the assistant coaches that moved. It can be a very transient lifestyle when you're coach to coach and job to job type of thing. But how often do we hear coaches say, I'm not going anywhere. I am 100% committed. I ain't moving while the agent is on the phone in another room working out a deal, and the next day the private jet's landing on the tarmac at the new university or whatever job it is. That's how it works. Very few people can do what Mike Tomlin did today. Mike Tomlin, head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers. Well, somehow he got rumored for like the USC job and the LSU job. So, of course, he was asked about it.
Hey, guys, I don't have time for that speculation. I mean, that's a joke to me. I got one of the best jobs in all of professional sport. Why would I have any interest in coaching college football? That'll be the last time that I address it. And not only today, but moving forward. Never say never, but never. Okay? Anybody else got any questions about any college jobs? There's not a booster with a big enough blank check.
There's a booster willing to bet you.
Anyone else? All right. Thank you. Anybody asking Sean Payton about that? You know, anybody asking Andy Reid about stuff like that?
You know, Tomlin, you had me until then. Didn't Sean Payton have to go through that with the USC job a couple years ago? Yeah. I mean, it's happened. I mean, I don't know. Was it one of the Palmers that mentioned Mike Tomlin potentially for USC? I know Ryan Clark has been on ESPN talking about Mike Tomlin for LSU. And, you know, you could go recruit a whole lot of kids for $20 million a year, Coach Tomlin. I mean, there's boosters out there willing to write that check. From what I'm told in Lubbock, there's a guy named Campbell that runs Double Eagle. He's got a big old checkbook. And he did not like the loss to Kansas State. And Matt Wells paid the price so that Texas Tech could get a jump start on the coaches that they wanted to go after. And the top of that list, I'm told, is Jeff Traylor. You guys have read about it. I've read about it too. I'm talking to people in Lubbock. In fact, I'm supposed to do a thing in Lubbock on Thursday where a radio station up there wants to know more about Jeff Traylor as they are gearing up to do things. We will see how it all works out. But really, if Jeff Traylor, this week, perfect week for a bye, let them enjoy the bye week. They will do what they need to do. Then they come back and they're going to be on the road against UTEP. I don't know if we will know what Texas Tech is doing if we're going to have to play this dance through the end of the season. If I'm Jeff Traylor's agent, I work out a deal with Texas Tech, or I don't, but I play this year out and see what other options are going to be there. I mean, Jeff Traylor is one of the hottest coaches, if the hottest coach at his level in the country. Now, I don't think Jeff Traylor is going to be up for, say, the Washington State job. You got to be able to recruit Texas. And that's something that Kirby Holcutt, the AD at Texas Tech, said was what they were looking for. I mean, if you read what Kirby Holcutt says they're looking for, it's like the LinkedIn job posting saying, we want Jeff Traylor. He checks this box. He checks this box. He's enthusiastic. He's charismatic. He's bald. He's got it all. Wears a crispy white hat. I mean, it's all there. Everything that Kirby Holcutt wants spells Jeff Traylor. You know, the one thing San Antonio could do for Jeff Traylor, I mean, they've got the stadium in Gilmer where he won 3 state championships in high school. They got that stadium named Traylor Stadium. I saw on social media somebody's got a T-shirt design, or at least I hope it's a T-shirt design. If not, it needs to be a T-shirt design. But it says Traylor Park on the Alamo Dome, a silhouette of the Alamo Dome. You know, the Alamo Dome is the Alamo Dome. It doesn't have a sponsored name. It's you know, you do have the H-E-B Plaza and all that kind of stuff, but it's not like the AT&T Center. I mean, the Alamo Dome's got naming rights. Can you just call it the Traylor Park? I think that's a pretty good name. It's a pretty good T-shirt. I mean, yeah, if he stays here and keeps winning, there'll be a statue there. You know, the Traylor Dome. I think Traylor Park's kind of cool. It works. But I think the other part of it for Jeff Traylor, as he tries to build a national brand, UTSA still is not a national brand. And that's one of the hard parts about it. While you look at UTSA ranked in the top 25, they're going to be on ESPN2. UTSA has tried like hell with the national media to get people to call them UTSA, not Texas San Antonio, not UT San Antonio. Yet, Mike Wilbon today on PTI.
Bigger deal, how Oklahoma won or how Penn State lost?
It's Penn State. Penn State was so certain they would win this game, they made Illinois the homecoming opponent. And Illinois, who I thought was going to be immediately much improved because they brought in Brett Bielema as coach, lost to UT San Antonio this season and barely beat Charlotte.
I mean, Wilbon doesn't even know what he was saying as it was coming across the prompter. UT what? Who? What? The UTSA is not quite the national brand yet. They're getting there, and they will get there with or without Jeff Traylor. It's going to be interesting to see how it plays out, but the rumors for Jeff Traylor aren't going to stop. He was named a list for one of the Coach of the Year lists today, the only guy from Conference USA on that list. I mean, you know, when you're on the Paul Bear Bryant Awards Coach of the Year list, there's 21 coaches on that list. Traylor's the only one from Conference USA. You realize the job that Jeff Traylor is doing amongst those within the inner coaching circle, whether Mike Wilbon knows where UTSA is at or not. Let's talk some World Series. Game 1 tonight. A game you can listen to right here on San Antonio Sports Star. We'll talk about the World Series as we continue here on the Blitz. But first, let me tell you about my friends over at Ancira Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, and Ram Truck, part of the Ancira I-10 Auto Complex. If you're shopping for a new vehicle, you know there's no better place to go than Ancira. And I can tell you firsthand because I am a longtime Ancira customer. That's why it's easy for me to recommend and tell you about Ancira, because I know they're going to take great care of you before, during, and most importantly, after the sale. That great customer service is why Ancira has been a top family-run dealership in San Antonio for decades. They're going to make sure you're getting the vehicle you want with the options and features that you're looking for. They'll give you great value on your trade-in, the best rebates and financing options that are available, and their service after the sale is second to none. And you know price made Ancira number one. Price keeps Ancira number one. So think Ancira. Ancira Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge, and Ram Truck, part of the Ancira I-10 Auto Complex on I-10 West between Wurzbach and Huebner. Dan Matthews from The Fan in Atlanta joins us next to talk Braves. Stros after Pledge gives us a Sports Center update.
Thanks a lot, Jason. Well, the Cowboys designated Michael Gallup to return from the injured reserve after suffering a calf injury in Week 1 against the Buccaneers. Gallup's now able to return to practice, and the Cowboys have 21 days to activate him to the active roster. The Houston Astros and Atlanta Braves start the World Series tonight. A game you can catch right here on San Antonio Sports Stars. Framber Valdez gets the start for Houston, while former Astro Charlie Morton will get the start for Atlanta with first pitch from Minute Maid Park set for 7:09. But it'll all start right after the Blitz at 6 with the pregame. In the NBA, the San Antonio Spurs are 1-2 and looking to snap their 2-game losing streak as they welcome LeBron James, Russell Westbrook, Anthony Davis, and the Los Angeles Lakers into the AT&T Center, who are also 1-2 on the year. Tip-off for tonight's game set for 7:30, and Game Night San Antonio will help to get you ready for it on the Blitz. Finally, in college hoops, Texas Longhorns and Chris Beard landed a commitment yesterday from Montverde, Florida Academy 5-star small forward Dylan Mitchell, who chose the Horns over Florida State and Tennessee. The 6'7" wing is the 18th ranked player in the ESPN Top 100, and he's the second 5-star recruit for the class of 2022. I'm James Pledger.
ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM.
An accident with a company car, truck, SUV, van, or fleet vehicle is not just another car accident. Thomas J. Henry handles serious company vehicle accident cases and gets serious results for injured clients. Visit tjhlaw.com/radio. San Antonio, Texas.
Do you love your garage? Can you get your cars and the kids' bikes in? Jason Minix here for Garageization, your garage storage solution. With a variety of shelving, overhead racks, slat walls, and closed cabinet options, Garageization can make your garage functional for the entire family. Call 210-664-4494 and have them give you a free customized plan for your family's needs. For over a decade, Garageization has helped people love their garage. Learn more online at GarageOrganizationSanAntonio.com.
The whole goal is to point people to something bigger.
What if the news was different and covered more than one side of the story? Not just the who or the what, but the why. What if it took you closer?
It's information and people want it.
So you can make up your own mind. What if the news lets you think for yourself? Introducing a new point of view. Yours. Newsy. Watch Newsy free on your TV. Learn more at newsy.com.
Still looking for that one special voice that makes you fall in love with podcasts? The One is out there and free on Spotify. With over 2 million shows and today's most talked about podcasts, Spotify is the best place to find that one special show that makes you laugh, keeps you interested, and keeps you listening for more. Whatever you're into, get way more into it with a podcast. Find the one you've been listening for right now, free on Spotify.
At Diamonds Direct, nobody tells our story better than our own associates.
I hear from customers that come in how shocked they are. They're able to, only with Diamonds Direct, afford a diamond that they never in their wildest dreams thought they'd be able to get.
People are just thrilled with what we offer.
I have exponentially more to choose from. The resources that we have away from our wholesale roots, really untouchable.
When you come here to Diamonds Direct, you know it's something special. You know it's something that is one of a kind, and you got that at such a phenomenal value.
To be a jeweler and have this kind of firepower, we have all these mountings, all this selection, all these diamonds, and incredible prices is just unmatched.
And I think our customers appreciate that we are so open and honest about every part of this process.
What they're surprised by is the extent that we go to provide an unparalleled, luxurious shopping experience.
This company has a 60-year heritage in diamond cutting, diamond mining, diamond wholesaling. So there's no possible way to get any closer to the source than with Diamonds Direct.
We won't be undersold.
Diamonds Direct, your love, our passion. Store hours and directions at diamondsdirect.com.
Here in Texas, the heat is relentless, the storms are serious, and the hail is insane. Texas weather doesn't do anything halfway, and neither should your roofer. Your roof protects your home and your family. So whether you need a simple repair or a roof replacement, metal or composition, you need a roofer you can trust. That's Stevens Roofing. They are reputable, reliable, and have always been your local roofer. Call Stevens Roofing today for a free estimate at 210-785-0994 or go to stevensroofing.net.
Your safety and full satisfaction is My Collision Center's top priority. Free estimates and no appointment necessary. We work for you. If you've been in an accident, visit My Collision Center for a free estimate today. With 5 area locations, visit mycollisioncenter.com.
If your definition of free time means arguing with your spouse, you might want to pick a new hobby. Call divorcedude.com at 210-201-0303 and ask for Mark, the Divorce Dude with Polling Law PLLC. Divorcedude.com can help you get a fast, affordable, agreed divorce. But if you want to fight, the Divorce Dude can fight for you. DivorceDude.com gives you easy legal options and sticks with you every step of the way. If the marriage is over, why fight? DivorceDude.com.
Your exclusive home for the 2021 World Series. This is San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN, AM 1250 and 94.5 FM.
Game 1 tonight. Astros and Braves. You can listen to it right here on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250, 94.5 FM. I'm Jason Minix. Glad to have you along. I get off work early today, so we can bring you coverage of Game 1 of the World Series at 6 o'clock. Let's talk about it. Our good friend Dan Matthews from 680 The Fan in Atlanta joining us now. And I can tell you there's nobody better to talk this series than this guy, Dan Matthews, because he grew up in Houston. He's a diehard Astros fan. What have you been in Atlanta, 9-10 years now?
9 years, yeah. And 9 years this October 12th. So
nice.
Yeah, coming up on 10 years next year. So it's crazy to find where time has gone.
It really is. And I think about it as a longtime Astros fan. Now, your studio literally is at the stadium there in Atlanta for the Braves. And you spend 9 years covering a team. I'm not going to ask you who you're rooting for in this. It's got to be an internal tug of war. But there's only one guy that knows these two teams better than you, and that's you. So Dan, you look at this series matchup, and I know you're in Houston now. It sounds like the party's already started where you guys are at. The Astros and Braves didn't play this year, not once, which is kind of odd. What do you expect to see when these two teams get on the field?
I think you expect to see two teams that can mash the baseball. I think that obviously the Astros are known for doing that for sure, and the Braves, just this lineup that's been put together on the fly, has been one that has put together some really good baseball. As I'm talking with you, I see Ronald Acuna Jr. walking by me as somebody that they probably could really like to have in that lineup to provide even more punch, but obviously not the case. But it's going to be a series that has an opportunity to really provide some exciting fireworks in terms of long balls and runs being put up.
You know what was interesting for me from the Astros perspective, with no Lance McCullers able to go against the Sox in the LCS, and he's not going to be available in the World Series. I was worried about starting pitching and then bullpen work. But you look at the latter part of those games, the bullpen did surprisingly well. I'm not as much worried about these starters because they don't stay in the game long enough anymore. Is the Astros bullpen strong enough to shut down that potent Braves attack?
Well, it depends on which Astros bullpen you get. I think we can agree that games 2 and 3 of the LCS, probably not. But games 1, 4, 5, and 6, then yeah, absolutely. And look, you just kind of caught the theme right there that I just said, is that you need 4 good wins to be able to take home the Commissioner's Trophy. And if they can get 4 good, solid outings out of their bullpen and out of their pitching staff, that's good enough to help them win. So that's really all they need, and that's what they're looking for. So, kind of like what the Braves have to rely upon with Tyler Matzik in the back end of the bullpen and Will Smith, who's just been strong for them. And hoping that they can get, A.J. Minter to continue what he did last series as well. I think that it's something that is really a point of emphasis for both squads.
Dan Matthews from 680 The Fan in Atlanta joining us here on the Blitz ahead of Game 1 of the World Series. In Atlanta, what's the surprise factor that the Braves have made it to the World Series?
All of it, Jason. I mean, every single bit of this. I mean, the fact that you have a team who, like I said, and that's what I love, and I know there's a lot of Dodger fans in San Antonio, so this is going to be really fun to say because it's going to rile them up, and if they want to hit me up on Twitter, go for it. I really don't care. But all of the excuses that were being made for why the Dodgers aren't moving on, I thought was ludicrous, because I get not having Max Muncy. I get losing Justin Turner and some of the injuries they had. How about losing Ronald Acuna Jr. for the entire season? How about never having Mike Soroka, who was supposed to be your ace starting pitcher? How about losing your Silver Slugger hitting catcher for most of the season? And, there's questions of if the thumb is still bothering Travis d'Arnaud. How about losing your cleanup hitter to some legal issues for the season as well? So I know that some things were not in their control and some things were, but at the same time, though, too, the fact that you lost all of those players, and when Ronald Acuna Jr.'s injury happened in July, there was questions of, will this team just decide to say, you know what, 2021 is a wash. We're not going to mortgage the future to try to win a division and try to chase a playoff run. But they ended up making moves. I mean, you go out and get Jock Peterson, who talked about yesterday, trying to really lift the mood and the morale in the clubhouse when he got there, because he said that it was a group that kind of looked like they were beaten down a little bit. And he wanted to loosen things up and be able to get these guys back on track to believing that they could win and they could compete in October. And he did. And he's a really huge part in that. I mean, I know getting Adam Duvall back was a real huge lift for them in a couple of these trades. They didn't have to give up very much. I mean, the hitting star and the MVP of the NLCS, you gave up Pablo Sandoval for Eddie Rosario from the Cleveland Indians. That's a hell of a trade right there, that you give up a guy who's probably at the tail end of his career for a guy that was absolutely just almost invincible in the NLCS.
You look at it, and what I read, the Braves weren't even 500 at the All-Star break, and they make this run. They get to the World Series. Every Astro fan wanted the Dodgers for obvious reasons. In Atlanta and other baseball cities, the hate for the Astros is real. When we think about it here, you're in Atlanta sometimes having probably to defend the Astros. Does a win in this World Series erase the stink of 2017?
I mean, I think those who just hate the Astros are going to hate them regardless, and I don't think they need to worry about that because, it's kind of just a mark of how good you are. I think that a win is huge for them because it's also, too, as well, a very key piece of their run is really got a good shot at not being back next year in Carlos Correa.
Yeah.
So I think there's kind of a feeling with Astros fans of enjoy it now and get it now. Because if you lose him, what happens to the rest of the core? You know, is this a group that will have seen their better baseball played? Is this a chance that the Oakland A's can improve next year and be able to overtake them? Or even, you know, you see what would the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim look like with a full season Mike Trout? So I think there's a lot of factors out there. But it's also, too, as well, I do think for a lot of the fans, it would stand for, I'll just say me, for example, Jason, for me.
There you go.
If they get this, the Astros, that is, I think that it's kind of okay, you know what, I saw two in my lifetime, and fine, for those of you out there, one legitimate one in my lifetime, that's more than enough. But I think that also, too, as well, you know, you heard Jim Crane talk about wanting to bring back Correa and saying, you know, I don't buy this whole that the window is closed. You know, I think that he's kind of looking for, you know how like when the Red Sox finally broke through in 2004 and that kind of really took the pressure off of them and they were able to build off it from there. I think that's what the Astros are hoping for, is they're hoping to really be able to piece together world titles, you know, every other year or every so often and be able to continue that run of success here in the city.
And I hope Jim Crane just writes that check to Carlos Correa. I mean, whatever it takes. I mean, the fact that they could lose a George Springer and what he meant and still get back. Obviously, Jordan has been smashing the ball, and that's really been a key factor for the Houston Astros. And, you know, not only could Correa not be back next year, I wonder if Dusty Baker, if he finally wins a World Series at 72 years old, does he come back? I mean, a lot of people were surprised he is still there, but if he wins one, you wonder if he comes back.
Yeah, I mean, that's something that I've heard too. And yeah, I mean, both of these managers, you know, are kind of the ones that go against the mold. I mean, you know, I think it was Brian Snitker yesterday that talked about, yeah, guys like me aren't around anymore. You know, they go younger. They go with the analytics guys. They go with you know, the guys that were in the front office and then make their way down to the field to manage. It's not the baseball lifers as much anymore, which I think that's something that they both really enjoy about this series. But for Baker, yeah, I mean, I think there's a little bit of a feeling of that. And then also, too, I think that there's kind of a feeling with the Astros organization of a little angst that I think they kind of feel like if they don't make bench coach Joe Espada a manager, he's going to go look for that opportunity somewhere else. So if that happens, Jason, I wouldn't be shocked and surprised if Dusty says, you know, it's been a great career. He'll go to the Hall of Fame and well deserved. And if not, the media in Houston probably sometime in November coming to cover a introductory press conference of Joe Espada as their new manager.
It's going to be interesting to see. Dan, I'm taking Stros in 6. What's your prediction?
That's what I'm going with as well. You know, I think that it's going to be crucial for the Braves to get one of these games here. You know, because if they can get one of these games here, you know, I said it in an interview earlier today, they can head back to Atlanta, a place they've played very, very well and have won every single one of their postseason games. So you give yourself a chance. You give yourself a chance at the series. But I do think that the Astros hitting and the experience is what wins out in this. So I'm with you on that.
I look at it. I mean, and look, I'm an Astro fan. I make no bones about it. The heartbreak that the Braves have cost me throughout my fandom, payback's a bitch, and it's nothing better than being able to do it in the World Series. Although a lot of these players weren't even in middle school last time that was a factor, but that long-seated heartbreak is certainly there.
Yeah, well, you know, it's funny because when I first moved to Atlanta, that was a question I had. Like, it was, do kids even necessarily know, like, how the Braves were in the 90s and early 2000s? And you know, that was the unfortunate thing of when TBS decided to go away from, you know, having select Braves games to going to national broadcasts. I think that that's something that they lost out on a little bit. But you see here already during batting practice quite a bit of cursive A's and a lot of blue and red of the Braves in the crowd already. So I think people are excited to see it and are excited and hoping that kind of for them that if nothing else, this is their start of what the Astros have done the last few years, that the Braves can kind of get that going. And I think as long as you have Alex Anthopoulos in charge, you got a really good shot of making that happen.
Dan Matthews from 680 The Fan in Atlanta. Enjoy the couple of days back home and in the series, man. Enjoy it.
Absolutely, man. Always good to talk with you. And it's funny, you know, when you reach out, I'm usually thinking to myself in October, well, he's probably got to want to talk Georgia, Florida or something like that, you know. But no, we're talking baseball, and you love to see it.
Absolutely. And again, if you're an SEC type, especially Bulldog football, you know, Dan's got to cover. I mean, what you guys do on the Chuck Oliver show is you know, in the South and the SEC. I mean, everybody, we carry Paul Feinbaum, but it's that. But we get to talk baseball right now. It'll be a while before I think we talk Falcons and or Hawks, my friend.
Yeah, I think probably got to get a little bit further on in the season for the Hawks, but they're looking good so far. Looked good last night against Detroit. And the Falcons, I think we are at the beginning of that rebuild. Maybe if Matt Ryan gets traded or cut.
We'll see. And the Arthur Blank is screwing with your phone as you said that because your phone was starting to cut out, which is a good time to wrap things up. Dan, enjoy Houston, man. Get over to Pinkerton's and get yourself some barbecue. I know every time I'm there, you're commenting on my photo that you want some. Go by his Houston location and grab you some good old brisket and those beef ribs.
I will, and hopefully Grant will be there so I can tell him hello for both of us.
Grant, actually, I know this. He's going to be at the game tonight because he texted me earlier asking if I was going. Yeah, so
very nice.
Look for him there at the game. He's going to be there.
For sure. A good man for sure, as you are as well.
I appreciate it. You too, man. Enough with all the accolades. Dan Matthews from 680 The Fan in Atlanta. Always appreciate the time. Coming up, we'll talk Spurs and Lakers as LeBron is in town, but may not go tonight because of that ankle. We'll give you the latest as we continue here on the Blitz. If you need your logo on any gear, if you need hats, you need to get into Sammy's Embroidery Club on San Pedro. Sam has inventory in stock. Not many can say that, but Sammy does. He has your polos, your T-shirts, your hats, all in stock. In fact, he's got the largest selection of caps around, including the popular Richardson style cap in stock. Over 10,000 hats are on display in his showroom right now. So if you need one, you need 1,000, whatever you need, call Sam. He'll get you taken care of. So if you're a business owner, a manager, a club leader, call Sammy's Embroidery Club. Need uniforms? Sam has over 700 uniform lines to choose from. And it's not just embroidery. He could do silkscreen shirts as well for any occasion. Sammy's Embroidery and Printing. Nobody has better prices. Sam has all the big name brands and is the only company in Texas with one-day turnaround. Check the website, samsembroidery.com, or go visit that massive showroom on San Pedro, 1 mile inside Loop 410, next to Big Lots across from McDonald's. All items come with a warranty, and you work with Sam on your project. He's the owner, and he's by his phone right now. Call him 210-824-3900. 824-3900 for Sammy's Embroidery Club.
Score $1,000 now into the winning keyword, COOL, COOL, COOL at sasportstar.com. Good luck from San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM.
You know, injuries do happen, so if you twist, pull, pop, or snap something, you need to know about Dr. David Espinosa at TSAOG Orthopedics. Dr. Espinosa treats all non-surgical orthopedic injuries, and he has same-day and next-day availability. Telemedicine services are also available, and you know there's no reason to be in pain. If you're hurting, visit Dr. David Espinosa at TSAOG Orthopedics. You can schedule your appointment by calling 210-804-5490, 804-5490, or go online, tsaog.com.
Research shows that people remember radio ads with a booming voice that emphasizes all the main points. So to help you remember that Liberty Mutual Insurance Company customizes your home insurance so you only pay for what you need.
That part is super important.
Here's one with a booming voice.
I'm emphasizing everything.
Liberty Mutual customizes your home insurance.
Like a page with every word highlighted.
Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
There's confusion about how to protect yourself from COVID.
One thing is certain, whether or not you're vaccinated, you need an accurate thermometer to check for fever, the leading sign of flu and COVID. Be vigilant and contact your medical provider at the first sign of fever. Don't rely on non-contact thermometers that have no scientific studies. Only the Exergen temporal scanner thermometer has been proven accurate in more than 100 clinical studies. Learn more at Exergen.com.
Joel, trick or treat. I've got something spooktacular to show you. Whoa.
Stop it.
For our quarter moon answering machine, I've made this.
Is that a cassette tape? Where do you even get one of those?
Listen. Oops, wrong side. This Halloween, something is in your home. The faucet drips. The thermostat does not read what it originally set to, so it feels awkwardly different and not the comfortable temperature in relation to degrees and humidity.
Nigel, you need to check the candy before you eat it.
Hey!
Okay, it's Halloween time, so for 1 week only, Quarter Moon Plumbing, Heat, and AC will officially be called Quarter Moon Plumbing, Heat, and AC. With Quarter Moon trucks all over town, you'll never have to be scared about plumbing, heat, or AC issues. We can fix them, prevent them, and take the fear out of the unexpected.
Call 651-5899 for Quarter Moon Plumbing, Heating, and AC.
651-5899.
License number M13229TACLA 000743545.
There's confusion about how to protect yourself from COVID. One thing is certain, whether you're vaccinated or not, you need an accurate thermometer to check for fever, the leading sign of flu and COVID. Be vigilant and contact your medical provider at the first sign of fever. Don't rely on non-contact thermometers that have no scientific studies. Only the Exergen temporal scanner thermometer has been proven accurate in more than 100 clinical studies. Learn more at Exergen.com.
Jason Minix here for Alamo Water Softeners. Whether your home is a new build or an older home, Alamo Water Softeners has a water treatment bundle with special pricing to give your home the highest quality water treatment available. Choose from several bundles, including the Premier Whole Home Bundle. Get a free standard gas or electric water heater when you purchase a select top-of-the-line water softener, plus one filter and reverse osmosis system. Go to AlamoWaterSofteners.com. That's AlamoWaterSofteners.com.
This is the place where time stands still. With each down, there's a battle of inches.
How about 83 yards from Prescott to Elliott?
This is San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM.
Set your alarm to wake up with us. San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM.
You know, I was mentioning to Dan Matthews, it needs to go by Pinkerton's Barbecue, their Houston location. Because every time I post something from Pinkerton's or Barbecue, he has a comment. He misses home. He's from Houston. Good reminder, go to sasportstar.com and make sure you get your picks in every week in our Pro Football Pick'em Challenge, brought to you by Pinkerton's Barbecue, where you could win if you're the weekly winner, a $50 gift card to Pinkerton's and a gift card to Mellow Mushroom. I was looking, I'm still the overall leader, although my week last week wasn't as great like my fantasy football team. While you're at sasportstar.com, you could register to win some Dallas Cowboys tickets. We're doing that. The Big Score, where we're trying to give you $1,000 that we're doing every day, 7 in the morning to 7 at night. Enter that keyword. You're going to go there and upload your grilling photos. Grilling with the Blitz. Man, I had a big spread this weekend for my niece's graduation party with some baby backs, some brisket, and those pig shots were a hit. Those pig shots were incredible. Pledge, you missed out, my friend.
I completely missed out. And I saw the picture that you threw up of them on the grill, and my mouth was watering as I was just doing labor in the backyard in the heat of the day.
They are so good and so refreshing and, quite frankly, easy to make. A lot of people ask me about pig shots. Just Google the Meat Church recipes and search pig shots. Google pig shots Meat Church, and you'll see I just do it exactly the way they tell me. Kielbasa bacon, kielbasa sausage, the little mixture there is on the Kamado Joe for about 45 minutes, and they are fantastic. So sasportstar.com, you'll have a chance to do all that. Make sure you upload your grilling photos for your chance to win that $50 gift card from Tri-County Meat Market that we do every Thursday for Grilling with the Blitz. Since we're talking about giving away stuff, 4th annual Corny Maze going on down at Traders Village. It's the only Corny Maze in San Antonio. 10 acres of mazes, lots of fun out there. You can win a family 4-pack all week long on R&R in the morning, on halftime, and on the Blitz. If you don't win tickets, you can get them at tradersvillage.com. And they're only $9.99 a person. You want them now? We'll give away that 4-pack. Let's give them Stros and 6. Caller 6, you're going to be the winner. 210-656-ESPN, 656-3776. Caller 6, you are going to get those tickets to the Corny Maze over at Traders Village. You know that's going to be a lot of fun. The Dallas Cowboys had a bye week. Dak Prescott was seen at the facility yesterday with no boot on that calf, on that foot. He was wearing slides. If you're dealing with ankles or calves, I would think slides would not be your appropriate foot choice. Over the weekend, he was photographed at a country concert wearing cowboy boots. I need to get a good pair of cowboy boots. But Dak was wearing some cowboy boots, not a medical boot thing for his ankle. Jerry Jones on 105.3, The Fan up in Dallas today, talked about Dak and his ankle and the fact that he was seen without a boot and in slides.
Well, it's based on what you saw yesterday, that was very encouraging. But those things have to be monitored. We've got a solid week, which is great to monitor that. And I thought Martin had a good description of it when he had the calf tear last year. And he said some days it feels great, and then it feels like you got run over by a bulldozer the next day. But still, I feel very good about where Dak is right now.
He feels very good where he is right now, but you feel good one day and you feel like you got run over by a bulldozer the next. And as I think about this calf injury, and we'll talk about it with Charean Williams from Pro Football Talk at 5:30, is it worth it for one game? My guess is Dak is going to tell us he can play, and he's going to want to play. But is it one of those kind of injuries that you could aggravate, and does missing one game against the Vikings, since you're coming off of the bye week, I don't know that he would have been able to play this past Sunday based on what we heard after he was injured against New England. And then, so he's had a week off. If he got another week off, is that better than having him try to come back, play against the Vikings? And does 1 week end up costing you 4 or 5 weeks because he re-aggravates the injury? It's a soft tissue thing. I mean, Michael Gallup hurt his calf in game 1. And I realize different positions require, different time offs and what you're asked to do on that calf. But I'd sacrifice the Minnesota game and see what Cooper Rush can do, as opposed to roll Dak out there. Maybe he re-injures that calf, and 1 week ends up being a month or 5 weeks or 6 weeks. I know we all need that. I mean, they are running away with the NFC East, right? They are. If you miss this week's game against Minnesota and we go with Cooper Rush versus you roll Dak out there and he re-aggravates that thing and misses that stretch coming up, I don't know. I'm starting to think maybe Dak needs to sit this one out.
It's all good. Deshaun's still available.
Shut up. The idea, Cam Newton will be the Cowboys quarterback before Deshaun Watson. Let's be honest. Ben DiNucci will start another game before Deshaun Watson is a Cowboy quarterback. Now, he might start for Miami. He might go there. But give Dak Halloween off. His girlfriend posted some photos on social media. He's dressed up like the ringleader of a circus. Maybe he just needs to be at that Roo Pub Halloween party on Saturday night instead of being in Minnesota. I mean, there are a lot of things Dak could do Saturday night that won't re-injure that ankle, that calf. But I'm getting a little nervous about it, just thinking about, man, calf injury, and they're pretty nonchalant about him, but he hadn't been to practice yet. We'll have to see how he does in practice. Doug Gottlieb from Fox Sports Radio will join us coming up. You make your weekend plans. Halloween is here. Nobody plans on getting arrested, but It does happen, will happen, happens to a lot of people every day for all kinds of reasons. If you get arrested, you want to get out of jail fast, you know the best way to do that is by calling my good friend Albert and his great staff at AA Best Bail Bonds, 210-225-2121. You can text the word bail to 474747, or you can even start the bonding process online at mybestbailbonds.com. You don't have to call attorneys or anybody else to get out of jail, and you don't want to be forced into a PR bond. If the jail offers you a PR bond, make sure you truly understand what all those conditions are before accepting it. Your best option for stress-free bail bonds is AA Best Bail Bonds, because nobody beats their price. They have payment plans available, offer a free shuttle service. They're open 24/7, offices all over San Antonio and Texas, services nationwide. If you're up in Dallas, down in Corpus, in the Valley, anywhere in between, license number 149. Call AA Best Bail Bonds, 210-225-2121, or go online, mybestbailbonds.com.
Do you have what it takes to rock the mic?
Hey, this is RJ Ochoa.
Hi, this is Carolina Teague.
Hey, San Antonio, it's Thomas Mott.
Slacker Sports Bar presents Rock the Mic. Now is the time to submit your 1 minute or less sports take video clip at sasportstar.com. From there, we narrow down to the top 12 finalists with 4 rounds of live in-person auditions. Who will be the 2021 Rock the Mic champ? It could be you. Rock the Mic, presented by Slacker Sports Bar and in part by Jim Beam.
Welcome to Texas, where the sun is beaming down and can damage the interior of your car, even in lower temperatures. Unless you go to Mother's Window Tint, home of the Tint and Alarm Special, where you can also buy a new car stereo since 1984.
1984? That's impressive.
Mother's Window Tint has tinted cars and trucks to stop the sun from damaging their interiors. Texans like dark privacy window tint. Come to Mother's and get some. Legal and guaranteed a lifetime. Remember to protect yourself and your family. Buy an alarm today from Mother's. Starter kill, remote start, GPS locator, 24-hour live monitoring. Save $100 on the tint and alarm package of your choice. San Antonio and Austin stores. motherswindowtint.com.
Remember, do it at Mother's and save!
Have you wanted to speak a new language but thought it'd be too difficult or take too much time? Then try Babbel. In just 15 minutes a day, Babbel teaches you conversations that you will actually use. With 14 languages and lesson topics like travel, business, relationships, and more, you'll learn what matters most to you. Babbel. Language for life. Learn a new language with ease. Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's BABBEL.com.
Not all pizza places are the same. Mellow Mushroom originated hand-tossed, stone-baked classic Southern pizza. Not in the mood for pizza? Order a calzone, hoagie, sandwich, burger, or a mellow salad and see how care goes into every item on the menu. Take your pick from 24 draft beers and or handcrafted cocktails. And many of the pizzas can be made gluten-free or vegan. Mellow Mushroom is at 1604 in Stone Oak Parkway. Hang with friends, watch the game, and mellow out at Mellow Mushroom. Your source to local news and sports in San Antonio begins with the San Antonio Express News. We've collected, written, and shown the stories that matter most to San Antonio. Look no further than the San Antonio Express News to continue to provide information and strength to the community. Whether it's on the field or on a court, we provide the ground local coverage. Go to expressnews.com for the most up-to-date high school and college sports coverage. Subscribe today at expressnews.com.
From the Mother's Window Tint Studio, one team, one mission, KZDC, San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN, AM 1250 and 94.5 FM. Jason Minix, the Blitz.
It is the Blitz here on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250, 94.5 FM. I'm Jason Minix. Glad to have you along on this World Series Game 1 day. Pumped about Game 1 tonight. Astros, Braves. Not the World Series I wanted. James Pledger went deep into his closet, pulls out the Biggio jersey that he wore last week, hat autographed by Lance Berkman. I never understand why you wear stuff that's autographed, especially by somebody of the caliber of Lance Berkman. I mean, isn't that the hat that needs to go under a case, and when he goes into the Hall of Fame, you've got it there protected?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I realize, you and I both, because we know Lance well and did a lot with him in the past. We got a lot of stuff signed by Lance Berkman. But I went to Lance's first All-Star game. I went with him, Billy Wagner, and Moises Alou to the game in Seattle. That was a lot of fun doing that many, many years ago when Safeco was just opened. But last night we were doing our show at 1911 Cigars over in Cibolo, which is a fantastic place. And if you're a cigar smoker, you need to go check out 1911 Cigars. But there was a guy in there that was wearing an autographed Corey Dillon jersey. Now, you don't see a lot of Corey Dillon Bengals jerseys to begin with, let alone an autographed Corey Dillon jersey. Now, maybe he looks at that and went, well, it's kind of worthless. I'll just wear it out. But if you're a Corey Dillon fan or a diehard Bengals fan and, you've got that jersey autographed, I don't understand how you wear that out and then try to put that through the wash. To me, that doesn't I don't understand that aspect of it. I mean, once you get the autograph on there, it generally goes on a shelf and in a frame. You do something with it. But to wear it out, you can't do that. Then again, you don't see very many Corey Dillon jerseys in San Antonio.
I'll tell you this much. If this jersey was autographed by Craig Biggio, it would be in a case on the wall.
I'm with you there. I've got an autographed Biggio jersey hanging in my memorabilia room.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
For now.
Oh, it better be there this weekend. After you watch the Dogs. If I come back and there's a big old spot on the wall, I know exactly who I'm going to call.
Ghostbusters?
Exactly. That's exactly who I'm going to call. 656 ESPN 656-3776. If you want to chime in on the Kia Bossa Bacon phone lines, you can certainly do that. 210-656-ESPN. You can also get us on Twitter. Tweet at me at Jason Minix. You can tweet at Pledger. He is at I am Pledger. Is Gottlieb ready to go? He's not ready to go. Getting his voicemail? You haven't even called him yet.
No, I've tried a few times. One went straight to
well,
voicemail. The next one rung through, and this one's just ringing.
Yep,
all right, there's voicemail again.
All right, don't worry about it. We'll move on without the great Doug Gottlieb because we have so much to talk about on this day. Charean Williams is scheduled to join us coming up at 5:30. But let's talk about the Spurs playing tonight. Don't worry about Doug. Let's talk Spurs here. Interesting game tonight with the Los Angeles Lakers. And I heard you and Jack Thompson talking about it today on halftime as we had a Tuesday edition of the Saturday Morning Hangover. And when I saw that LeBron was questionable for the game and he got downgraded, my first thought was, man, that sucks. How many games does LeBron have left in San Antonio? I mean, at this point of his career, even though he is still a machine at his age, you do start to wonder how many more trips to San Antonio does he have? And then when I heard Jack Thompson on the radio today begging and pleading for some sort of ankle therapy miracle, the devastation that I could hear in Jack's voice that he's got Laker tickets, good tickets apparently, because his girlfriend's parents are season ticket holders, and they got the tickets for tonight because he wants to see LeBron. As a basketball fan, especially a young one who probably wasn't around in some of the heyday of LeBron, you want to see LeBron. It's like when Kobe was winding down his career, when Timmy was winding down his career, or MJ. I mean, you don't know, does he have 2 more years, 5 more years? I mean, who knows with LeBron James? So the fact that he is, and at least we all saw the ankle injury. It's real. It is real. It's not a DNP rest because, we're playing the Spurs, so, we can take the night off with our stars. That's not the case. We saw the injury happen the other night, or you at least have seen the highlights of it. I can't imagine that he plays tonight. And I'll tell you why. I want him to play tonight for those that are going to the game, to be robbed of the opportunity to see the great LeBron James, especially a guy like Jack, who I don't know that he actually meant to say it the way he did, but it made it sound like, he likes the girlfriend because of the season tickets she has access to. I think she does. He does like her for other reasons, but it certainly made it sound like the ability to go to Spurs games was a very high priority on keeping her around type of thing. But go back and listen to the tape. I think he said that. I mean,
it's sitting there.
Yeah. Best part about her is she's got season tickets. Man, dude, you can't say that.
Right
I hear you.
Bill Landon, Sean Elliott.
Yeah. I mean, so he's going to get some TV time tonight, and he might cry a little bit because LeBron is going to be in street clothes. Now, by all accounts, and I haven't seen any updates from LA yet, and it will probably be a little after 6 o'clock before they put anything out officially, unless the Lakers just do it immediately. But LeBron's going to go to the AT&T Center, and he's going to work out and then see how he feels. They've got a back-to-back. So the Lakers are playing Oklahoma City tomorrow. My guess is LeBron doesn't play in either of these. If I'm running the Lakers, I sit LeBron in both of these games. It's the first week of the NBA season. There is no reason for them to push LeBron, who has missed a ton of time because of ankle injuries. Last year, he missed 26 games because of an ankle. This is where the training staff or the coaching staff have to save the player from himself, to the detriment of those Spurs fans that are hoping to see LeBron James in person tonight play. I mean, that's just the unfortunate reality. I don't have a girlfriend with season tickets. Maybe I'd look at it differently if that were the case. And I look at this Spurs team. The headline in the Express News today was along the lines of need to turn moral victories into actual victories. And when I look at that and I think about that, Pledge, I'm not a moral victory fan, but I'm okay with what I've seen from the Spurs over the first 3 games. They're 1-2. They blew the crap out of Orlando, which was expected, or maybe actually, I don't think any of us thought they'd win as big as they did. But when I look at how competitive they were against Denver and Milwaukee, and that's a tough back-to-back to begin with, I'm looking like I like what I'm seeing out of this Spurs team. They're starting off strong. They're hanging in there. They don't know how to win. They don't know how to close things out in the fourth quarter. But they were playing a couple of really good teams, and they did not get blown out. Again, I don't want to talk about moral victory because, they're still losses. I don't expect the Spurs to be a 500 basketball team this year, but the way they competed against Denver, the way they competed against Milwaukee, I don't know who writes the headlines of the Express News section, but the way they competed is something that, as Spurs fans, you should be excited about. I mean, the way that we've seen Lonnie Walker play the first 3 games, DeJounte, Keldon Johnson obviously is going to be a beast. The way McDermott has come in, he hit 7 3-pointers the other night. Now, I look at Doug McDermott, and I know him as a 3-point specialist. But the way he is able to move without the basketball, the way he is able to slash, that's been impressive. That's been a nice pickup for the San Antonio Spurs. I like what I'm seeing to this point out of San Antonio. They're playing good basketball, and they're going to get some wins maybe that you didn't expect them to win. But this first stretch of games is tough. Carl Schoening and I did a podcast earlier today that you could see on all our social channels, and he was talking about, this tough stretch of games, they might play well but end up, 3-7 after 10 games. And that certainly is a possibility. And again, I'm not a fan of moral victories, and it is a good headline in the paper, but they are playing better over the first 3 games than I thought they were. And that is a small sample size, 3 games, but it certainly is something to look at. Let's talk moral victories. Is it just T on line one? Just T. It doesn't have a whole name. Go by the initial. Mr. T, you're on the Blitz. What's up, my friend?
Hey, how you doing? I appreciate you taking my call. You seem like you take one every week. I'm a big Cowboy fan, but you brought up the Spurs moral victory, and you're right. I'm hearing Spurs fans saying, hope these guys lose so they can tank and get a lottery pick, but every game that they played, that they've been in, they could have won. So it's hard not to root for these guys, especially the people like Jakob Poeltl, who busts his butt up and down the court. You have to play people like Joker, Anthony Davis, and Giannis, and the Spurs almost won all these games. So do you want these guys to do well because they're so young, but do you want these guys to tank to get a lotto pick? So it's kind of like half and half, and I'm hearing that from a lot of Spurs fans, so I just wanted to get your take on it.
T, I don't think they have to tank to get that lottery ticket. I just don't think they're good enough to win a lot of these games, if that makes sense. I don't think they're trying to intentionally lose games. Now, there might be some situations where you look at the floor in the final 2 minutes, final 3 minutes of a game that is winnable, and you look at what Pop puts out there and you go, well, you can't be trying to win if these guys are on the court, right? I mean, let's be honest. It will be very obvious if tanking is in play. I just look at this team and think talent-wise, they're not a 500 basketball team. Before the season started, I have them at 35 wins on the year. Vegas has them at 29.5 as the over-under. What I want to see is the growth. Now, I've been impressed with what I've seen, and I hope I'm wrong. If they end up as a playoff team, I am not going to be mad. I'm just not going to be mad at that. But when I look at the Western Conference and I look at all the teams in the West, all the good basketball teams, and tell me where the wins are. Tell me talent-wise who the Spurs are actually better than. And that list is very, very short when you start looking at the Western Conference and who are likely to be playoff teams. I mean, the Spurs at 1-2. Phoenix is also 1-2. That's a surprise. I expect Phoenix to turn things around. Golden State at 3-0. You knew they were going to be back. Utah and Memphis are going to be good. The Lakers, when they figure things out, it's going to be a while for them to have the chemistry come together. But when I look at the Lakers, you got LeBron. If he's healthy, you're going to be in the mix late. Not so sure about Dallas or Minnesota. I expect the Clippers to figure some things out. So, I mean, I look at this Spurs team. They're going to be competitive, and that's what I want to see. Are you seeing Lonnie Walker play consistent? Because that is something that has eluded him, which is one of the reasons why the Spurs did not pick up his contract. Jakob Poeltl has played really well over the first 3 games, and McDermott, him coming in, the ball movement, the assist numbers have been pretty incredible. In fact, when you look at some of the numbers, some of the stats that are out there, that are available, and again, small sample size, but DeJounte and Derek, when they've been on the floor together, they're forcing a turnover in nearly 1 out of every 4 possessions, according to Dan Weiss from Spurs TV. That's one of his quote-unquote Danalytics that he tweets about. That's the best of any backcourt in the NBA right now. Now, granted, that is 3-game sample size. Derek White, his ability to take charges. And that's stuff that we've seen from him before. There's a lot of good things. Forcing the turnovers, being disruptive on the defensive end. I heard Carl Schoening use the term, they've been pokey, and they have, because the Spurs are going to be competitive with activity, the ability to poke a ball away and get transition points. The assist numbers that we've seen from this Spurs team. And quite frankly, I credit DeJounte Murray a lot. I thought he was going to be the guy that would end up scoring a ton of points for San Antonio, be the leading scorer in every game, and that just hasn't been the case. When Pop said, at Media Day several weeks ago, that he thinks it could be a different guy every night. He's right. Who's the hot hand? I mean, McDermott with 7 3-pointers in a game. Keldon, with a strong game. Jakob, what he's offering offensively with those assists. He wants to score more. I think the Spurs want him to score more. And Derek White had an interesting quote after one of the games. Was it the first game against Orlando? I don't have it handy, but essentially he said, this team is so different than when he first got here. And he did not mean this as a dig, I think. But he said, when he first got here, everything went through LaMarcus, and it was just kind of slow. And that's what the Spurs were doing at the time. And when you have a LaMarcus Aldridge, that is how you use him properly. With no LaMarcus, it's a very free-flowing offense, a lot of passing, a lot of transition, not a lot of dribbling. It's amazing the lack of dribbling from this San Antonio Spurs team. So it is something to continue to look at, something to watch. And with the Lakers in town tonight, it's one of those nights where you either get to a great place like the Rue Pub where you got multiple TVs because you want to watch the World Series, but you also want to watch the Spurs and the Lakers. Now, the great thing with baseball is you can watch the entire Spurs game and then flip back over and still watch 2 hours of baseball tonight. I mean, don't you figure this baseball game tonight's going to be about 4 hours? I mean, when you think about, everybody wants to talk about starting pitching in baseball. I'm tired of talking about starting pitching in baseball. Those guys don't go 4 innings anymore. And then you get the pitching change. And then you have this. You get to the bullpen, and that is where I think the Astros are going to have to do their damage. I want as much as I can get out of the starters. I'd like to see 5 or 6 innings out of these starters for the Houston Astros. But in reality, the bullpen has been a bit of a surprise. Just try to get back to the closer. That is what they need to do. That is what you want to see from the Houston Astros tonight. And then, of course, mash the baseball. You think about the amount of runs that they were putting up against the Boston Red Sox. They can't have some of those offensive droughts because Atlanta is going to be able to swing the bats and score as well, especially down there in Houston. It's going to be a fun series. It's going to be a fun night with Game 1 of the World Series. And then you've got Spurs and Lakers. And the thing that scares me about the Lakers, if LeBron James does not play, and there's been no official announcement on his status for tonight, but he was downgraded to questionable because of that ankle. Anthony Davis has the ability to just go nuts. Westbrook has the ability to just go nuts, along with everybody else that the Lakers have. I mean, you look at the Lakers roster, and it's like looking at your high school yearbook. Oh, yeah, I remember him. He's there now. It's insane, the talent on that Lakers team. So even without LeBron and Anthony Davis, he could be lethargic and aloof in this one. I doubt it because he's got a chance to have that spotlight, to not have LeBron on the floor. And the stuff with Westbrook, they are going to figure out. Hell, Carmelo had an incredible game the other day. Pledge, you just sent me something. I haven't had a chance to read it.
Mm-hmm.
Is that breaking newsworthy, or are you just sending me an article to?
No, just sending you an article. It's about what happened back in May at a celebrity golf tournament. Charity golf tournament.
All right, I'll read that. It's about Cal McNair. The headline says Texans Cal McNair used anti-Asian slur at team's charity golf tournament in May. As I'm quickly reading this.
It's a quick read. Take his team away.
I don't think they're going to take his team away, but in reality, he was referring to COVID-19 in a way that Trump used to say quite often. Not surprising that Cal McNair would repeat that. I don't know if he'll lose his team at that. I mean, if Dan Snyder hasn't lost his team yet. In fact,
Dan Snyder's got a little more backing from the rest of the league.
But again, though, owners are meeting and there's all kinds of stuff going on. Reporters asked, I think it was the Jets owner, about Dan Snyder, and he's like, we're only here for football. We're only here for football. And sometimes you wonder where those guys really are. It is the Blitz here on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250, 94.5 FM. I'm Jason Minix. Glad to have you along here on a Tuesday afternoon. We're out early today, 6 o'clock. We'll get you ready for Game 1 of the World Series, Astros and Braves. I cannot wait. I just wish we could get a Manning cast of Game 1 of the World Series with Marshawn Lynch. That needs to be a part of every week. 3 shots of Hennessy and Marshawn Lynch cussing on my TV. We need that every week. Those TV execs need to make that happen. Let's talk some Cowboys football with the great Charean Williams. She will join us next here on the Blitz. But first, let me tell you about Alamo water softeners. You know, I've had a water softener in my home from Alamo water softeners for about a decade. And whether you've got a new build or you're in an older home, Alamo water softeners has a water treatment bundle with special pricing so you can have the highest quality water treatment available. Go to alamowatersofteners.com right now. Schedule an appointment. One of their whole home specialists will come out to your house and give you a free water analysis and a customized plan for your family and home. And you could choose from several bundles, including the Premier Whole Home Bundle, where you can get free standard gas or electric water heater when you purchase a select top-of-the-line water softener, a +1 filter, and a reverse osmosis system. That's while supplies last. Now is the time to take advantage of bundle pricing at Alamo Water Softeners. Do like I've done. Discover the Alamo Water Softeners difference. Go to the website, alamowatersofteners.com. That's alamowatersofteners.com. It's time for Sports Center with James Pledger.
Thanks, Jason. The Houston Astros and Atlanta Braves start off the World Series tonight, a game you can actually catch right here on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM. Framber Valdez is getting the start for Houston, while former Houston Astro and part of the 2017 World Series title team, Charlie Morton, will get the start for Atlanta tonight with first pitch from Minute Maid Park set for 7:09. It all starts at 6 right after the Blitz with the pregame. In the NBA, the San Antonio Spurs are 1-2 on the season, looking to snap a 2-game losing streak as they welcome LeBron, Russ, Anthony Davis, and the Lakers, who are also 1-2, into the AT&T Center. LeBron is questionable for tonight's game, and tip-off from the AT&T Center is set for 7:30. In college hoops, the Texas Longhorns and Chris Beard landed a commitment yesterday afternoon from Montverde Academy 5-star small forward Dylan Mitchell, who chose the Horns over Florida State and Tennessee. The 6'7" wing is the 18th ranked player in the country in the ESPN Top 100 and the second 5-star recruit for Chris Beard and the Longhorns of the 2022 class, joining Arterio Morris. It's the first time they've had 2 5-star recruits since 2016. I'm James Pledger for San Antonio Sports Star.
ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM.
If you're dealing with any issues at the house with your plumbing, your AC, maybe it's time to get your heater checked, you know there's one company to call, and that is Quartermoon Plumbing, Heating, and AC, 210-651-5899. 651-5899. At Quartermoon, they are full service. Big job, small job, residential or commercial. Their service trucks are fully stocked, and they have all the equipment needed for any job. At Quartermoon, they have a great experienced staff that has earned an A-plus ranking with the Better Business Bureau. And you look at Quartermoon, they do not have commissioned sales reps. They'll provide estimates, second opinions, and they have great maintenance programs that ensures your unit is ready for every season. You don't need your heater today. You're not going to need your heater tomorrow, but you will in a couple of months, and you better make sure it's working. A lot of us found out last February why you need to have maintenance programs on your heater, although that was a little different, but still, if your heater ain't working, it gets really cold inside your house in a hurry. Make sure your heater works. Call Quartermoon, 210-651-5899, 651-5899, or online, quartermoonplumbing.com.
Dig a trench, gravel the driveway, remove a tree stump. To tackle the big jobs, you need the power of Kubota. At Ewald Kubota, we have the tractors and construction equipment to get it done fast and get it done right. You've come to rely on the quality and dependability of Kubota compact tractors and implements, and at Ewald Kubota, rental equipment is available at all of our locations. Right now, all new rental customers get 10% off their first rental. For a store near you, visit ewaldkubota.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts specializes in keeping your car on the road.
Not sure how much life is left in your battery? Our professional parts people will test it for free. If it does need to be replaced, we'll help you find just the right one to fit your car. Our Superstart batteries are built to handle even the toughest conditions. Visit O'Reilly Auto Parts today.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
The Halloween parties at the Roo Pub have become legendary. Plan now. The biggest Halloween party in San Antonio will be Saturday, October 30th. Get your costume ready. The Roo Pub closes off part of the parking lot. We'll have DJs outside and inside the Roo and Angry Elephant and a $1,000 costume contest. The Roo Pub at 281 in Redland Road. Plan now for the 8th annual Roo Pub Halloween block party on Saturday, October 30th. We'll see you at the Roo and wear a costume.
Hi, welcome to Smokey Mo's.
At Smokey Mo's Barbecue, we smoke our meats fresh, in-house, each and every day. We think it makes all the difference in the quality of our moist, flavorful brisket and turkey, and the mouth-watering tenderness of our ribs and pork loin. Got a crowd? We've got group packs and full-service catering. Up early? We've got made-to-order breakfast tacos. Find your store at SmokeyMo'sBarbecue.com and come see us for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Smokey Mo's Barbecue. The pit is lit.
Like a lot of women these days, Mackenzie Tudor knew exactly what she wanted in an engagement ring.
I'm a big fan of Pinterest. I've been studying this for years.
She wanted a pear-shaped diamond in a certain designer setting, but became frustrated quickly when most jewelers just didn't have it.
You can go in a lot of diamond stores and they don't have the pear shape. They may have one option. They may have two if you're lucky.
Then she and her boyfriend Tim found Diamonds Direct, with one of the largest selections of loose diamonds in America in stock every day.
Diamonds Direct had more than dozens of the exact size and shape of diamond that I was looking for.
And because Diamonds Direct carries all the top bridal designer lines, names like Verragio and Simon G, finding the ideal setting was just as easy.
The styles at Diamonds Direct, they go right along with Pinterest. They are exactly what every girl's looking for.
Diamonds Direct, the exact diamond you want, the designer ring you've been dreaming of. No compromise necessary.
I can't say enough about how many compliments I get on my ring from Diamonds Direct every day.
Diamonds Direct, your love, our passion. Official jeweler of the Dallas Cowboys at the shops at La Cantera.
Finding the right Medicare plan may feel impossible, but now it's anything but. With Walgreens Find RX coverage tool, you can compare plans online, over the phone, or in person, making Medicare easier than ever. Easier than picking which true crime doc to watch, figuring out that Wi-Fi password, or putting the duvet cover back on. So if you can do those things, with Find RX coverage, you can definitely Medicare. Find the plan that's right for you by visiting walgreens.com/Medicare.
Liberty Mutual Insurance Company presents
and Doug. And we're back with Limu, Emu, and Doug for the final question. Category is things you climb. All right, Limu, what do you think? You sure? We're going with Liberty Mutual customizes your car insurance so you only pay for what you need. Oh, so close. We were looking for stairs. Huh. Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty. Here we go.
Get the latest on the Longhorns all week long, right here on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM.
It is the Blitz here on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250, 94.5 FM. I'm Jason Minix. Game one of the World Series, Astros, Braves. Our coverage gets started at 6 o'clock. That means it's early release day for me, but it's a Tuesday. It's 5:32. Let's talk some Cowboys football with the great Charean Williams from Pro Football Talk. She joins us now. Charean, interesting week for the Cowboys, having the bye week. You had all eyes on Dak's calf at the facility yesterday, photographed wearing slides. Saw pictures of him over the weekend at a country concert wearing cowboy boots, so no medical type boot. But the more I think about that calf injury and listening to what Jerry had to say on 105.3 The Fan this morning, is it smarter, do you think, for the Cowboys to sit Dak this week against Minnesota so one missed game doesn't turn into 5 or 6 if he re-aggravates that calf injury?
Well, that's what I think you have to be careful of. You have to see if he can make it worse if he plays. I think that would be the concern. And the medical staff will make that decision. That won't be a coaching staff decision or a DAC decision. If you can't make it worse, then you want him out there. Now, you're going to have to design some stuff for him to get rid of the ball. He's not going to be able to run around. I mean, I do think there are going to be some limitations, as we talked about last week. He's not going to be 100%. There's just no way possible you can recover from a calf injury that quickly. So they'll make some designs to things, but if he can't make it any worse, if they determine that he can't make this thing any worse, then he should be out there in play. If there's a chance he can make it worse, then yeah, I think you sit him and give him another week, because you've got a healthy lead in the division. You've got a long way to go, and you want him at 100%. Don't want to risk further injury. So that's something that medical staff would have to determine. Now, I think if there was any question of him not playing, then I think Jerry would have said it today. We always know that he can't contain himself when it comes to sharing information. So I think we would have heard that. So I think they expect him to play. Again, I do think there will be some limitations with him. I think they'll try to run the ball a lot. I don't know how much it's going to take to beat the Vikings. I do think it's a tough place to play, and the Vikings have shown kind of up and down, and I know Mike Zimmer's really going to want to win this game. So, some things to think about for the Cowboys, but mainly it's going to come down to a medical decision more than anything else.
Charean Williams from Pro Football Talk joining us here on the Blitz. You think about the week off for coaches and Mike McCarthy, a lot of self-scouting. What's the one or two areas that you think or do you expect them to have spent a lot of time on and show us different in the games following the bye?
Yeah, I'll be interested to see what they do offensively. I just think Kellen Moore's done a really good job, come up with some creative stuff, and I'm sure he spent the bye week doing that. And hopefully Mike McCarthy worked on his time management and game management situations, which we know he's had a hard time with this season. So hopefully there was some self-scouting on his part. But, now they don't have another bye the rest of the way. It's a long stretch of the season now. So that gave them really more than anything just time to take a deep breath and, okay, we like where we are, but we got to keep this thing going. We can't let up here even with this lead in the division. And I don't think they will. I think they'll play the rest of the way pretty well, barring injury. I think this is a good team that's going to compete for the NFC title.
Charean Williams from Pro Football Talk here on the Blitz. Every Cowboy fan loved hearing that. As you think about what we saw this past weekend with no Cowboys football, it was just kind of an odd weekend, some weird games in the National Football League. Anything really surprise you where you're like, I can't believe I'm seeing this? And yes, I'm talking about Kansas City.
Well, yeah, I think there were a couple things. First of all, the margin of victory was unbelievable on Sunday. I'm not talking about the Thursday night game, which was a close game. I'm not saying it was a good game. I'm saying it was a close game. But on Sunday, average margin of victory was 20 points, which was incredible to me. There really weren't any good games that came down to the end that you're sitting on your edge of the seat and, as an uninterested bystander just watching the game wanting a close ending. That just didn't happen on Sunday in the NFL. So that was kind of unusual in and of itself. But yeah, I think the Titans just taking apart the Chiefs. It's something we haven't seen. This Chiefs team just a couple of years ago won the Super Bowl and was talking about winning 5, 6, 7. I don't even know what they got up to, 8 or 9 Super Bowls. And they found out over the last 2 years that it's harder to win 2 after you win 1. And I think it should give us a greater appreciation for what the Patriots were able to do in the Belichick and Brady era of just consistently being there and being in the AFC Championship game and all that. It's hard. It's really, really hard. And this, to me, just doesn't look like a playoff team right now. I don't know what kind of moves they'll make before the trade deadline on Tuesday. I do think they need another receiver in there to help them, whether it's a Brandon Cooks or whoever. I know Cooks, they've said, is probably not going to get traded. But whoever you look at, I think they need to look at a receiver and maybe some help on defense. It'll help them if Frank Clark and Chris Jones can get healthy. And then, the other result, obviously, is Cincinnati over the Ravens. Just to do what they did in Baltimore, take them apart, not even a close game. I think it just tells you that the Bengals are really good. And I don't know that any of us expected this before the season. But I just like I said, the Cowboys are contenders in the NFC. You have to say the Bengals are contenders in the AFC. They're at the top of the AFC right now. They hold the number 1 seed. So we'll see how that plays out. Long way to go. But they just look so good and so confident, and they've learned how to win.
Charean, you mentioned the trade deadline is Tuesday, next Tuesday, a week from today. And, I was going to ask you anyway, but you brought it up. Do you expect the Cowboys to make any moves?
I really don't. I think they like what they have. Their depth is really good. They haven't had a major injury at any position where you'd look at to go, this is what we want to do now. Maybe if somebody blows them away with an offer for Michael Gallup, maybe that's somebody you look to trade to get some additional picks. But I love Michael Gallup, and I think he can help them. And I think you want all the receivers and all the cornerbacks that you can get who are really good. So I would not pull that off unless somebody's offering me maybe a first-round draft pick. I'm not sure I would trade and I'm the biggest Michael Gallup fan there is. I think he can be a number one receiver anywhere he goes, and I think he will go somewhere in the offseason as a free agent, perhaps, if the Cowboys don't get him signed before free agency. But I wouldn't look that way. I just think they're going to hold on to what they have, and I think they're not going to make any trade deadline moves, and they have a team that can contend even if they don't do that.
I think about the trade deadline, and it's like at the NBA, it seems like there's always a lot of movement. The NFL, not so much. And I look at Deshaun Watson and wonder if he's going to get traded. And up until our mutual friend John McClain did his about face, because he comes on with me every Thursday, and for weeks has said he won't get traded. He won't get traded. And for John to now say he expects a trade before the deadline tells me he's hearing something. Does Deshaun sign an NDA in the ultimate? And that's one of the hangups. Deshaun doesn't want to sign his non-disclosure agreement, which baffles me. I don't know who's advising him, but does Deshaun sign that, get traded, and play this year?
I don't know if he signs that, but I do think he gets traded, and he holds all the cards. We know it's down to Carolina and Miami. Perhaps some other team will jump in, but we know those two teams are interested, and their owners covet a veteran quarterback who can be a superstar, and Deshaun Watson certainly is that. Stephen Ross, the owner of the Dolphins, long has wanted Deshaun, and so I think that's where he ends up. He's approved a trade there. If Carolina comes in and offers more, I'm sure they'll try to talk Deshaun into going back to the Carolinas, where he plays college football at Clemson, and he certainly could star there. But yeah, that's the concern, the 22 civil lawsuits. And then if there's anything legal that comes out on top of that is even a bigger concern for a team willing to trade a ton to get Deshaun Watson, because it's going to take a ton. Otherwise, the Texans aren't going to trade him. It's going to take a ton of draft picks for them to trade Deshaun Watson. But I do think it happens. I think they end up with a ton of picks. I think it happens to Miami. I think he ends up there. And then the question becomes, what does the NFL do? They haven't made a decision on whether to put him on the commissioner exempt list, simply because they haven't had to make that decision. If he's traded, they will have to make that decision, and we'll see what ultimately Roger Goodell decides. Now, they're having the owners' meetings right now in Manhattan. Roger Goodell is going to talk tomorrow. I don't expect him. He's going to be asked, but I don't expect him to reveal anything in that. But he will be asked about Deshaun Watson and the commissioner exempt list.
If you're about to pull the trade off for Deshaun Watson, let's say it is Miami, and if the football gods are paying attention, his first game would actually be against the Houston Texans, which would be incredible, right? But if you're Mr. Ross, do you get some assurance from Roger Goodell that, hey, we're about to make this trade? Are you going to put him on? Do you think Roger Goodell would make a decision before a trade is pulled off, before they execute that trade?
Well, if I'm the Dolphins, I would love that assurance. But from what I've heard, the NFL is not willing to give that. They won't say what they're going to do. So, if you're going to trade for him, you're looking at this as a 10-year decision, not a 1-year decision, not for this year. I mean, you're looking at your team and you're going, you know what, even if he comes in here, he's probably not going to save our season. We're almost halfway into it. We're not very good right now. We'll just get him acclimated and get ready for 2022. I think that's more of what you're looking at. And you feel like probably that maybe you can get him for a little less than if you wait until the season's over and everything's cleared up and other teams get involved. For instance, the Eagles, if the Eagles don't make the postseason and decide we're moving on from Jalen Hurts, they could get involved in it. The Broncos could get involved in it. You have more teams bidding against it, and it may cost them more. So I think they're looking at this as a long-term decision. So I don't know that they're going to know what the assurance is from the NFL to know what the NFL will do if they trade for him, but they're looking at it as a long-term decision. So if that comes down and he can't play this year, then they'll give him the playbook and get him ready for 2022.
Great stuff as always. Make sure you're following Charean on Twitter at NFL Charean. Charean Williams from Pro Football Talk. Read her there. Watch her on Peacock. We'll talk to you next week on the trade deadline. I imagine we'll have plenty to talk about.
Thank you, Jason.
Appreciate it. The great Charean Williams here on the Blitz as she joins us every Tuesday. We're about 16 minutes away from our World Series Game 1 coverage. Braves and Astros going at it. And you think about this weekend in the NFL. Last weekend was, it's Thursday night. Cardinals and Packers. That's going to be a heck of a game. Steelers, Browns is going to be good. Cowboys and Vikings, obviously. Patriots. A lot of good games this weekend. Make sure you're playing fantasy at UnderdogFantasy.com. It is the best new place to play fantasy sports online with daily and season-long fantasy sports in that NFL Pick'em game, which is a lot of fun. Pick any 2 to 5 players on that Pick'em format. Parlay them together, and you could win up to 20 times on your entry in one night. They have the over-under where you can pick whether a player is going to go over or under a given stat line. A rivals pick, obviously, speaks for itself. Sign up today. Use promo code RADIO at UnderdogFantasy.com. Make your first deposit and receive a free $25 in bonus cash. Go to Underdog Fantasy or find them in the App Store. Register, sign up. Promo code RADIO, get that $25 cash free. Terms and conditions apply. Go download that mobile app now where you can play online, UnderdogFantasy.com.
For $1,000 now, enter the winning keyword, SCARE. SCARE. SCARE at SASportsStar.com. Good luck from San Antonio Sports Star. ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM.
Jason Minix here for Garageanization. I moved into my new house January 2020. Love the new house. Didn't necessarily love my garage. It's just not as big as the garage I had at the old house. I needed an organization solution because I parked both my cars in the garage, my golf clubs, the beer fridge, everything else that goes in to having a garage. I called around to some other places, didn't like what they were telling me or what they were charging. Then I found Garageanization because my neighbor actually found Garageanization. I loved what they did at his garage. Their team came out. We discussed what I wanted, what I wanted to spend, what I needed, and everything to it. Found the solution. Ultimately had these incredible shelves installed that are perfect for your long-term storage. And then underneath, they have these adjustable bars so you can hang stuff and utilize the space underneath the shelf. I love the versatility of the shelves. Love how organized my garage is now. If you need to organize your garage, and you do, call Garageanization at 210-664-4494. You can talk to them about the shelves like what I have, overhead racks, closed storage, slat walls. Make your garage functional for the entire family. Since 2008, the veteran-owned Garageanization has been helping San Antonians love their garage. Call them. They will come out and give you a customized plan for your garage. Go to their website, garageorganizationsanantonio.com. Again, garageorganizationsanantonio.com.
The marriage is over. You know it. Your friends know it. So why fight? Call DivorceDude.com at 210-201-0303 and ask for Mark, the Divorce Dude, with Polling Law PLLC. DivorceDude.com can help you get a fast, affordable, agreed divorce. But if you want to fight, the DivorceDude.com can fight for you. DivorceDude.com gives you easy legal options and sticks with you every step of the way. If the marriage is over, why fight? DivorceDude.com.
Oh, according to research, 82% of people remember radio ads. So 82% of you listening will remember that this is an ad for ZipRecruiter. 82% of you will note that if you're hiring, ZipRecruiter finds qualified people for your job. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. And 82% of you will remember that you can try ZipRecruiter for free, but you have to go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. Yes, free. Again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
How's your cell phone coverage? How's your cell phone bill? You know, a lot of big carriers overcharge you for unlimited data. They brag about coverage, but that's only if you live in the city. This is Greg Akagi. I've been an agriculture director for over 20 years, and I know what people outside the city need. Pure Talk. Pure Talk gives you great 5G coverage for about half of what Verizon, AT&T, and T-Mobile charge you. The average family saves over $800 a year. You can keep your number and keep your phone, or save on the latest iPhones and Androids. Unlimited talk, text, and 6 gigs of data is just $30 a month. Or if you want unlimited data, you can still save a fortune. With their U.S.-based customer service, I believe in the way Pure Talk treats their customers. Plus, they have a 30-day risk-free guarantee, so you literally have nothing to lose. From your cell phone, dial pound 250 and say half off, and you'll save 50% off your first month. That's pound 250 and say half off.
Who's ready to play some ball? Friday nights under the lights. Don't miss the high school football game of the week. Powered by Hill Electric. This Friday on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN 1250 and 94.5 FM.
Hey Alexa, what's for lunch? San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250 and 94.5 FM.
It is the Blitz here on San Antonio Sports Star, ESPN AM 1250, 94.5 FM. I'm Jason Minix. Time for our weekly injury update, powered by the Sports Institute at TSAOG Orthopedics, online at TSAOG.com. Let's welcome in Dr. Josh Bell. Doc, always appreciate you taking the time.
Thanks for having me.
So Dak Prescott has a calf injury. And, they're coming off of a bye. So last week, it came at a perfect time for him to get hurt on the final play of the New England game. He's been wearing cowboy boots, photographed in that over the weekend. Slides yesterday, he was seen wearing, slides at the facility. If he plays Sunday against Minnesota, does he risk further damaging that calf injury?
I think in those kind of muscle injuries like that, Gallup's been out for most of the year with that same injury. You don't know the level of the injury or the grade of the injury, right off the bat. But I think there is a risk for sure. Like you said, I'm happy that he had that nice week off. I think this is a perfect timing for him. But yeah, he's at risk. I think anytime you're lower extremity, we think about hamstring pulls, quad injuries, groin injuries, calf sprains. Those all can linger on, especially kind of, with what he has to do in the pocket.
And I look at that, and the reason I ask that, and obviously for Michael Gallup and what he's asked to do, what Dak is asked to do, it's different there. But if I'm making a medical decision and there's any chance of re-aggravating that injury, I will trade one game against Minnesota than re-aggravating and missing 4 or 5 weeks. Is that kind of the risk reward that you're looking at?
Absolutely. And I think after game one, there are no uninjured, there's nicks and bruises everywhere for every player. And that's a constant assessment, that the medical staff's making, that the player's making, every week. So, this one's obviously a little more because you could see the way he kind of limped off, right at the last play of the game there. I think they have that decision every week that we don't always hear about. But it's a tough call. It's so tough to know. But the medical staff at all these, teams, professional teams like this have dealt with this type of injury hundreds of times. So they've got a protocol that they have him in all week. They kind of know where he is. They might ask him to do a little different things, during the game, maybe a little less, pushing off on certain situations, but it's going to have to react. And, once you get in game time, if you have a 350-pound defensive lineman coming at you, you're going to make the move whether you want to or not.
Yeah, exactly. And you mentioned Gallup. He got hurt in the opener against Tampa Bay. Finally able to come back to practice. So, we will see him sooner rather than later, which is good news. Let's stay with the lower part of the body. LeBron James in town as the Lakers have the Spurs tonight. They list him as questionable with an ankle injury. Turned that ankle in their last game out. It's the first week of the season. And knowing that he has had ankle injuries in the past, missed 26 games last year because of an ankle, it's week one. I don't play him tonight. I don't play him at all. In fact, they just announced he is officially out tonight. So I think that's smart on the Lakers' part, although it sucks for Spurs fans hoping to see him.
Yeah, especially, I think he made a comment earlier this season, maybe before the season, that, he wasn't going to rest and wasn't going to this. I was like, That doesn't sound very smart to me, or like it's a real thing. I mean, LeBron's an incredibly smart player, but I just think that's unrealistic as you get longer in your career. I mean, we know the Spurs runs that they had, they had plenty of rest. They did that kind of as an art form almost. Popovich did. So I think I agree with you. I think especially players with, I mean, what is this, his 19th season, or, it's getting up there. They definitely have to rest. What's that?
108, I think.
108, yeah. So it's a long season. So I think if there's any question, especially a road game early first week of the season, I can see them shutting it down. It is unfortunate that he does that with the Spurs, but for long-term health of the season, I mean they don't. You think about the window for the Lakers. I mean, it's not 5 years, with the players that they have. So they got to maximize this year and certainly the next. I think next 2-3 years are what they get out of this team.
Dr. Josh Bell with us here from TSAOG Orthopedics. Doc, we often talk about ACL, MCL. Zach Wilson, the rookie quarterback of the New York Jets, has a strained PCL. What's that?
Yeah, PCL. So if the two ligaments internal to the knee are the ACL, anterior cruciate, and PCL, posterior cruciate. So they cross. And so the one in the ACL, which is the most commonly injured in professional sports for sure, that one is one that usually if you have a full tear, certainly for athletes, we're gonna fix those, reconstruct them. PCL injuries, I guess the most classic way we think about them is if the tibia, the leg, went back. Imagine, if you would, a dashboard injury. So you're in the car and your knee's flexed and your dashboard hits it straight back. So that what's resisting your leg from going backwards is the PCL. And so those injuries, they happen in sports, they happen in car accidents. The PCL it has a little more, I guess, blood supply to it would be the best way to phrase it. And so that one can rehab better than the ACL. So if you sprain it, it does rehab a little bit better. So we don't always have to fix the PCL. Certainly a complete tear in athletes, we fix a lot of those, but they're not as common as ACL injuries. So I saw that they were projecting a 2 to 4 week kind of, time to get back. And, so again, I think that's a guess. And again, it has to do with what his position is. He's not asked to be a wide receiver and do all the things that a wide receiver would do. But the PCL in general is the kind of the other ligament internal to the knee as the ACL, but it has a little bit better track record of healing on its own than an ACL.
In 30 seconds or less, I mean, we often hear about ACLs, MCL. PCL is, how does that one generally not, or is it part of an ACL or MCL injury that's just a part of it so we don't hear about it as often?
Yeah, I mean, PCL, if you tear the PCL, that's like, remember Willis McGahee years ago, right before he went to pros, had the knee dislocation. Okay, so if you get 3 ligaments in there, so there are 4 main ligaments, the MCL, LCL, which are on the outside, and ACL, PCL are on the inside. If you get 3 of those, we consider that sort of a knee dislocation. And so if you get 3 or more, you're going to have them fixed generally.
Got it. Dr. Josh Bell from TSAOG Orthopedics. Always appreciate the time.
Okay, thanks, guys. Enjoy the game.
I certainly will. Astros, Braves, game 1 coming up tonight. Spurs and Lakers at the AT&T Center. No LeBron James tonight. Somebody find Jack Thompson. Give him a tissue. He's going to be very upset. It's the right thing to do. Spurs going with their normal rotation for tonight. Pre-game coverage of the Astros and Braves from ESPN Radio coming up next here on San Antonio Sports Star. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
It's football, and not the Europe kind. The one where